Mr. Tong?
Sure. Okay. Please go ahead.
Good morning, honorable judges for the academics. I'm the first speaker of the pro team. The topic before us today is that Taiwan should enact UBI. Now I will introduce the 4 contentions to support the idea of implementing UBI. Contention 1. Improving the economy and the quality of life, leading to a positive feedback loop. UBI ensures that everyone can meet their basic needs without financial insecurity, helping alleviate poverty and inequality. This can also allow people to pursue the work they want. According to Crossing News, small-scale trials of UBI in countries such as Canada, India, and Finland have shown that most people do not stop working after receiving basic income. In fact, some have reported an increase in proportion of full-time workers and longer working hours. Additionally, UBI can benefit students who often need to work part-time by allowing them to focus on their education and future careers. UBI also provides a long-term injection of funds that can help promote economic growth and job creation. Overall, UBI has the potential to create a thriving and equitable society that benefits everyone. Contention 2. Effectively protect the right to life. People who need to receive support are left without. In the dissertation for the Department of Public Administration and Policy, Jen Yuan notes a significant gap between the number of listed low-income households and the estimated poverty rate in related studies, illustrating how the current system fails to cover the actual poor population and provide them with adequate support and care. Also, according to Crossing News, because of information asymmetry, many people who really need help have not received help. These studies show that the current status quo falls short in supporting the poor. Implementing UBI would guarantee the right to life that all individuals living in poverty receive the necessary support and resources. Contention 3. Reduce discrimination and labeling. According to Crossing News, the current social welfare system often requires individuals to disclose their financial status in order to receive assistance, leading many to avoid seeking help out of fear of being stigmatized. However, with UBI, everyone will receive a basic income, eliminating the need for individuals to disclose their financial situation and reducing the associated stigma. Contention 4. Enhancing the mental health and well-being of citizens. Financial stress is a significant contributor to mental health problems. In 2014, Lai Duran, the chairman of the Taiwan Association of the Prevention and Treatment of Depression, noted that depression cases due to economic pressure are becoming more common. According to the Department of Health, most office workers face varied degrees of economic pressure, with 40% of them silently suffering from symptoms such as insomnia and loss of appetite. Up to 22% of office workers considering suicide due to financial strain. Implementing UBI can provide a sense of security and stability to individuals and families, thereby positively impacting the mental health of our citizens. According to the Storm Media, an experiment in Canada giving everyone basic income has a good result on improving mental health. The rate of mental health consulting has decreased. Therefore, UBI is an effective solution to address the psychological problems faced by Taiwan. In conclusion, the Pro has shown clear contentions that UBI can improve the economy and quality of life, ensure the right to life, reduce discrimination and labeling, and enhance the mental health and well-being of citizens. And that will convince you that you must support the topic in this debate and vote for the Pro team. Thank you.
Honorable judges and fellow debaters, this is the negative side speaking. This side strongly opposes Taiwan to enact unconditional basic income. According to the policy proposed by UBI Taiwan, it will require about 3.24 trillion per year in Taiwan to be implemented, accounting for approximately 90% of GDP. The national budget of Taiwan in 2022 is only 2.3 trillion. How should the government get the fund? Moreover, according to the Finland experiment, UBI allow people to seek jobs they are really into, regardless of the payment. And this will lead to a lack of laborers in jobs such as construction workers or other blue-collar workers, because no one is willing to do it, which will cause a significant shortage of manpower in a certain field and hinder the development of the country, which in turn worsen people's life. meaning that UBI will fail to achieve its original goal. And also, to implement UBI, the government will have to increase the tax rate against corporations so that they might get the money in a capitalist society from companies to maintain their profit. Companies will take back the money through their employees. So implementing UBI will cause the payment for the laborers to decline, so that the benefit of the company won't be harmed. If the affirmative is suggesting that it is fine for the companies to earn less, then it's saying that it is okay for the country to ignore its economic development, which will also in turn worsen people's life. Furthermore, because of the law of supply, if everyone gets more money from the government, and yet there's no study showing that the supply will increase, then it will cause inflation because people have more money to spend. But the supply remains the same, and when inflation takes place, the amount of money UBI provide will have to increase, and then there will be inflation again. It's a vicious cycle, which will harm the country's economy and worsen people's life. So contradictory to UBI's initial intention. Besides, to take the money from the rich to the poor is apparently unfair. There's no reason for them to pay extra tax for UBI, just give it to the poor. This policy is suggesting that it's okay to trample people's efforts just to let folks that they are not striving hard get money for free, which might even lead to low incentive to work. And stopping the rich to invest the fund in Taiwan, because eventually it will be given other for no reason. Lastly, people's no experiment conducted in Taiwan, and all the experiments we can refer to are only among thousands of people. Worse still, the references are even from countries that don't share similar circumstances with Taiwan. It is unfeasible for Taiwan to enact this risky policy when we don't even have a single visible reference. In conclusion, unconditional basic income not only is a policy that is really hard to carry out, but it will also backfire and worsen the living condition of our citizens. So this side strongly opposes Taiwan to enact such an enormous policy that doesn't have any feasible reference. Thank you, Judge. Thank you.
Okay, so can you repeat your three contentions to?
Three contentions.
Yes, three contentions. Can you say about it briefly? Brief contentions. Three contentions.
What part?
Like the first one, like one of them is UBI will cause inflation, and the other two I didn't know your thoughts.
UBI will cause inflation because if there is more money into the market and more money for the
Okay, so do you insist? Do you believe that there is inflation in our daily life right now? Do you believe that there is some inflation in our real life?
the inflation is happened every day, but UBI it will cost 3.24 trillion per year in Taiwan, and Taiwan's national budget is only 2.3 trillion. The huge amount of money may cause a huge inflation to Taiwan.
But in our
Next question.
Okay.
This, how can the government get that much budget for UBI? Can you name what kind of tax is possible to be reformed?
In our evidence, one of our evidence it says that according to the control yuan, it says that there are approximately 50 repeated or some money that is wasted. So, and each budget is about about 10 billion approximately. And if 50, 50, 50, if there is 50 waste, so if we add the money, then it will be enough to cost the UBI money. Okay. So I will ask you a question is that in our daily life there is inflation. So how can you prove that if we implementing the system of UBI, and UBI will be the main reason or main cause of the inflation? Maybe it's a little bit portion, like not many.
No, as I just said, the UBS amount is very huge to Taiwan's economy, so it may have the big impact to Taiwan to solve the inflation.
Okay, that's 3 minutes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sounds not very entitled.
Okay, how long?
1 minute.
1 minute.
Good afternoon, good morning, and I am the second speaker of the protein. And before answering, now I will show you why our opponents' arguments are wrong. First, they talk about that we will need 2.4 trillion of dollars if we implement the UBI. However, we do not know that how did they have this number, like how many will you give to each people, and do each people really need that much to have to remain their basic life? And so, according to our evidence, there are 50, more than 50 things that this government spend on, which is repeated or not needed. So we think that if we can cut the money we use on those things, we can use the money on these basic income, which we believe will be enough. Also, with UBI, we can make the whole social welfare system more united. So there is 0.6 trillion of dollars that is spent on the social welfare each year, which we believe that will be enough if we united it and use it as the universal basic income and conditional basic income. And also, because of that, we also do not have to increase the tax rate, which they have mentioned. Also, they said that it is wrong for the wealthier people to give their money to the poor people. However, in the status quo, the people who are wealthier needs to pay more tax, which is kind of like the value of our country. So if you think this is wrong, do you mean that also wealthier people paying more tax is also wrong? And they have also stated that maybe some people will not want to work because of this UBI. However, we believe according to our evidence, there will only be 7% of people who will choose not to work. However, a lot more, like 90 more people would choose to pursue a higher income or better job, and which will lead to a better financial situation in our country. And then, thank you. I'm done with my speech.
Honorable judges and fellow debaters, this is a negative side speaking. So the opponent questioned our claim about budget. They say that we are not sure about how much money will be given to the people. But according to UBI Taiwan, approximately we can assume that to achieve the benefit of UBI, we might need about $10,000. And with that, with this number, we can calculate that it will require about 3 trillion. It's not a precise number, but it will be about 3 trillion. And also, they say that we are suggesting that the government shouldn't collect more tax from the rich. But however, the intention of this tax right now is that we need to increase the tax against the rich people, just for them to provide some sort of help towards the poor people. So it's suggesting that we can take the effort from other people and give it to others. And they also say that there are 2.6 trillion budgets spent on social welfare system right now in Taiwan every year. But according to our evidence, the total amount of budget in Taiwan is only 2.3 trillion. So I don't really know how 2.6 trillion has come from. And also say that the people will be more willing to find jobs they are really into, and which this, as we just mentioned, will lead to the fact that there will be certain fields that will be lack of laborers. There are jobs that people really don't like to do, but people now they don't have the pressure to survive. Then they will just pick jobs they like, and then there will be such as construction workers, the lack of laborers. And the opponent said that there will be 50 kind of budgets to collect, which is only, there's 2 problems in it. The first one is if the government knows that it is a waste of money, then why don't they just get it back? There's reason for that. It's not that easy, just get the money back, get the money they waste back. And also the second problem is, even if the government succeed to collect all the money back, it's only about 0.5 trillion. We need 3 more trillion to implement UBI. To implement UBI, 3 more trillion. So 0.5 trillion will not be enough. Or they might suggest that we can increase the tax rate. However, if they are to increase the tax rates, then for example, if they increase the enterprise income tax, then they will decrease the enterprise competitiveness, because they have less profits. They are not that strong to compete in the global markets. Or if they are to increase the business tax, then the price of the products will increase, which in turn, and also the commodity tax and business tax will both result in the fact that the price of the products will increase, which means that the amount of money of UBI will have to increase so that it can fit their claim benefit that it will support people's life, because the money of UBI is asserted by the basic living money in Taiwan. And they also say that the inflation UBI cost will not be the main problem. However, we are providing 3.24 trillion into the markets, and people will get more money to spend. And then that is how inflation works. If we put money into the markets, but the supply doesn't increase, then there will be inflation. And when inflation takes place, then the amount of money UBI provide will have to increase again. Thank you.
Okay, so for each people per month if we want to reach the benefits that UBI can promote. So how did you? I mean, we believe that we do not need that much, and I want to ask you, how did that number come from?
It's according to the biggest organization that is promoting UBI in Taiwan.
Okay, so which benefits are you referring to?
Which benefits?
Yes.
If people are to, for example, they release the pressure in their life.
Oh, so do you mean that if we give them money less than $10,000, we will not relieve their stress?
Yes.
Okay, but we believe that it's not true because we believe that even though we are giving them just the money they need to eat, just a very basic income. So I mean that if we give them 10,000, is that really the basic need of them, or is it too much? Okay, so do you have any question?
Okay, so can you provide me the evidence card of the 50 possible budgets? And also, where does this 2.6 trillion spent on social welfare system come? Where does this number come from?
Okay, I'll give you both of the evidence.
Can you read out?
Okay.
Both provide evidence cards and read out.
For the 50 and more waste budgets is that according to the Controlling of Taiwan, the observation found that 50 items of duplication or waste of money in the recent Taiwan.
Sorry, can you rephrase that?
So the ombudsman found that 50 items of duplication of waste money is used on a lot of.
So why can't the government take that money back right now? Why is the waste of money still existing?
Because the government has not changed that yet.
So they just put 0.5 trillion there without any reason. I was saying that.
We believe that it is not easy for a government just to cut and they can cut it because they may have to go to many conference or things to assure that these are able to be cut, and it is not easy. Not that easy for us to.
Yeah, that's the point. That's the point why the 0.5 trillion budget will not be that easy to collect.
Okay, sorry, we cannot prove that yet, but according to our arguments, we do not need that much money at all. It's just like.
So.
Thank you.
Learning on the speaker one of the pros. With the above construction speeches and rebuttals, I'm going to summarize some crucial points about that. We discussed about the money of the opponent says that it will be $2.3 trillion to put into the UBI system, and how they calculate it is like everyone can have 10,000 money to maintain your life. But however, we don't believe there is a need to pay them that money. We need to see if our money truly help the person. Like we are and another is that the opponent's second speaker said that if we implementing the UBI and the global market will be not competitive, and I want to know the answer about it because I didn't really know what's the logic in it. And the intention of UBI money to maintain their life. So it is true that we should implementing UBI to protect their life to right. And also talk about the welfare money. In UBI provides money to people, and the welfare money can be cut down. So the welfare money can be one part of the resources that we can have money, not only the 50 items that it is wasted. And also we have both speakers who have discussed about how the 50 items of wasted money will get it back. But I believe that's not the government. That's not the problem that we need to solve. It is the government need to think why they wasted this money. Thank you.
Okay. 3 minutes provision.
Okay.
vouchers and fellow debaters. This is the negative side speaking. The budget affirmative side says it's only 0.5 trillion, and according to the Ministry of Health and Welfare. The minimum standard of living is $10,000. Another affirmative size just $1,600. How can a 0.5 trillion to protect the and to achieve the minimum standard of living? And also, as the affirmative size says, there's 0.5 trillion in 50 place, and that's a huge amount to the government, to Taiwan's society. And why government haven't any action to take back this huge money? Oh, and also, use UBI may cause the blue collar workers cut down, and it may hurt the Taiwan's economy, and that's not bad to not good to the Taiwan's environment. Of course, we agree with UBI has some benefit, but it may cause a backfire to the whole society. To achieve this small benefit, Taiwan government need to take a huge risk to achieve the UBI. And I also want to ask the advance to a year's only need $1,600 per month. It's awkward to Taiwan's society now. Yes.
Preparation time. 1 minute.
Okay. Now let's start.
If you are using so many budgets, why don't just give it to the ones that they really need the money?
Because we believe that if we have to, first of all, we cannot. How do you know that who really need the money? Everyone, the amount of money that everyone needs is not the same, and it is very hard for you to define whether this money is enough and who needs these money?
So if the amount of money everyone needs is not the same, then why are we providing the same money?
Well, because no, what we mean is that the you cannot define whether someone is poor to take the money. So instead, we should give everyone the same amount of money to avoid this kind of
Yeah,
problem.
but if you're costing so much money, then the government can just use the money to investigate or see who need that money.
So can you come up with a policy that you think will completely solve the problem of finding the one who need?
If you are using so much money, if you are also using so much budget to do this, then
Okay, so
I think the government will have the capacity to do that.
so if you cannot come up with a real policy, a real way that you think we can solve the problem, then we believe that then we will still stand on our side, which we believe that there is no way to solve this problem completely. And also, the second thing is that it will cause discriminations when people have to admit that we are low income and we need money. This is
Labelized.
yes, they will be labelized as a low income and may be discriminated or lacked.
Sorry,
Can
May I?
we ask a question? So, besides the money, besides the questions of money, do you think that UBI have some pros or some cons besides the money?
Besides the money,
Yes,
But
because
if you are
mentioned a lot.
if you are considering without money, it's as well as saying that giving every citizen $1 million.
May I ask what's the $1,600 per month? What's the evidence?
So you only have 0.5 trillion, and if you calculate that, you divide that, then you can only provide $1,600 to the citizens every month.
So we actually think that for basic income, we only have to give them enough to eat, and we do not have to give them too much for like other things. It is a basic income, which is for them to live, not to have.
If only provide this amount, can it works good?
Yeah, according to the Ministry of Health, we need 13,000 to live in Taiwan a month.
To live what kind of life a month?
What kind of like the lowest basic living, the lowest.
I will use all of my preparation time. How much is that? Okay, so which I think should be
1 or 2 minutes.
Oh,
I think
1 0?
1.
1.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take 1 minute.
First of all, the money that we will need a lot of money. That is true. However, that will be solved after we have triggered the financial situation of Taiwan to be better. The whole situation will also be better. Second, you guys mentioned that to live in Taipei it costs $3,000, right? So, which means that the $10,000 is not needed at all, which we have mentioned in the beginning. And so, if we only use the 6.6 trillion and pass it to all of the people, we believe that it is enough to achieve the benefits we want. Although you guys mentioned that it is not enough to achieve your benefits, but you have not specifically told us what a benefit is. So our benefit is first, improve the economy and the quality of life, which is good, it is right, because they will have enough money for them to eat. And also it will protect their right to live. Also it will reduce discrimination and labeling, because they will not have to take the subsidies from for the low income and be labeled as a low income family. Also it will enhance the mental health and well-being of the citizens, because they don't have to worry that they will not have anything to eat. So yes, we believe that our amount of money is enough for people to achieve their the benefits that UBI will bring. And also we have both agreed that UBI can bring benefits if there is not a problem of money. And now we have solved the problem of money. So this means that we all come to agreement that with this enough money, we should implement UBI. And yes, so the Universal Declaration of Human Rights underscores the significance of economic and social assistance for all members of society to achieve their personal and social well-being. So the Pro team has presented strong contentions to support the effectiveness of UBI and promote social welfare economics. And we also solved the problem for the not money, which they thought is not enough, but would prove to be enough. Therefore, we urge you to vote for the Pro team and agree to the resolution of this debate. Let us take a bold step towards a more equitable and just society by enhancing UBI in Taiwan. Thank you.
Honorable judges and fellow debaters, this is a negative side speaking. Firstly, I would like to remind the pro side that we mentioned the basic living to live in Taiwan is 13,000, not 3,000. So it means that, they are just saying that there is a misunderstanding. So if we are only providing 16,000 to the people, then there are no benefits. The government will cost $0.5 trillion to achieve no benefit. The people's life will not be better because the money is not much. And however, the government will have to suffer the waste of the money. They spend $0.5 trillion, which is the money that can be invested on healthcare or other constructions that can improve Taiwanese economy. That improves Taiwanese economy. Ladies and gentlemen, please be reminded that the development of economy is also related to the Taiwanese citizens' life quality. So simply putting money to a social welfare system will have to consider the consequence that this money can also be used to other developments of economy, which can in turn improve people's life. So for example, if the government increases tax rates to get that money, then if the government just put 0.5 trillion to do so, then they will suffer from some of the, for example, there are debt in the healthcare system, there are debts in the insurance system to the elderly. Why don't the government put the money to there, which can effectively solve the problem there? However, the opponent's plan, which is providing 16,000, can achieve nothing. So the government is actually wasting the money to achieve nothing. So, ladies and gentlemen, please, I would like to urge the judges to vote for the conside, for the pro side had done nothing using its plans. Thank you.
You want to give comment first?
Oh, I think I need some time first.
Okay.
Yeah. can go ahead if you are ready.
Okay. Hello everyone. I think both sides prepared very well, and this debate is quite focused on the financial problem of this system. And in my viewpoint, is that the poor side give a lot of benefit that once UBI enact, that basically it's more like to help poor people. And then regarding to the financial issue, I think in the end, poor side agree that if we give everyone 10,000 per month, that will be too much. That your government financial state currently cannot afford. So it sounds like you agree that you can just using what you can provide, which is that 0.6 trillion welfare budget plus those 50 useless items, whatever, we don't know what's that. And I think the Pong side responds to these 2 points quite well. The first one is about the 0.6 trillion welfare, that it's not enough according to their calculation. The second one is those 50 project, 50 waste items, and what are those? And actually, I don't really understand what are those items. Those items could be what already happened in the past. So for example, the government built a very useless museum in some no one place. So that's a waste of money, but that's a money that could not be retrieved back in the future. Or that's a project that it happens every year. That maybe your evidence is showing that every year government spend 10 billion giving money to, let's say, build trees near the beach side, okay, and maybe that as per think that's a waste project. So I think here comes to a space that we can discuss what's a waste project, and that's what the consides have mentioned. And so here is I don't really understand how like useless those projects is, and how the money can get back. And let's say if all those money can get back, that is also the Committee said that even if the money all get back plus those 0.6 trillion welfare money, and then they calculate it and they say then everyone can only get 1,600 NTD per month, if I understand it correctly, right? 1,600 per month. And in your defense is that even with this amount of money, you think it could still help poor people, right? Okay, so now 1,600 help. It's obviously much less than what you the beginning you said that the benefit it could achieve. According to my imagination, that basic living incomes in Taiwan that should be over 1,600. Okay, but in your defense, even with 1,600, that could also be benefit. And the concept says that, but we already have the welfare that is over 1,600 for poor people. So right now, it's both sides have your assistance to help poor people, and who can help poor people better. Here, your response for this is we will never know who is real poor people. Now that's the first response. And I think what the concept could do better is you should respond to that. Okay, yeah, maybe we will never 100% know who is real poor people because system is not perfect. But what we can do is we can try to know, right? We can try to see what the property he has, what's the incomes a person has, what's the living condition it has. So maybe government have sent some people to do some investigation. Maybe that's what the current government can try to do to know who is the real poor people. So compared to the UBI system, who doesn't want to put any effort to know who is poor, who is rich, you think your way is a more efficiency to allocate the money to help the poor people. So that's what I would expect the consigned can speak more about that. But the second one is the process says that this will have a discrimination and a level license issue. Okay, I think consigned also can do better, like to respond to this. That like why if we have a condition of the welfare, that means they have a discrimination. Like for example, do you know anyone that is getting the low income welfare, like around any people around you? No, because you don't need to have a tag. You need to go out on the street to say, hey everyone, I'm a low income person and I got money from government. So who will know about that? It's only the government people who deal with the applications of all these poor people. Or I don't know how this will go, but I'm just giving some suggestion that I think the consigned can also respond to this more. Yeah, but in the end, like for me, this is like what's just like the consigned says. If you give everyone, no matter rich or poor, 1,600, just because you don't know how to classify their income level, you don't know how to tell who is poor, who is not poor. I tend to believe more that from the current government, that what they are trying to do, they can allocate the money better. So that's why I give my point to the consigned. Thank you.
You want to go first?
Sure, I'll be really quick. I think, well, based on, I don't know if you guys chat with Tyler, the foreign guy. Well, he said this time the debate is not based on the English proficiency, so we're not trying to judge based on how fluent you guys talk, but based on how you guys utilize the way we do debate. So I think the core value is you guys wanted to cite evidence and provide support with your evidence, and I think it's a very close match, so to be honest. But I think, well, I guess I'll just comment on each speaker. I think the first one, Chen, yes, I think great job on the time management in terms of providing the support. I remember you were providing an evidence about why you want to support the UBI Pro things, and you list all the numbers, so that was a good deliberate. And then I think overall it was really close until the final crossfire when the law team, they asked you guys a question about I believe it was the how are you, they saying they are providing equal amount of money to everybody because that can brush up on the discrimination, so no discrimination, and they want you guys to answer that. And I didn't recall you guys answering back, but instead I think you guys providing another question to them, which is good, but like I think in terms of winning the debate, right, winning this competition, it's not really about what you really think outside of this debate. We can have an opinion about, hey, I think I want UBI or I don't want UBI, but when you guys are preparing, that's why we flip the coin, right? So you wanted to be prepared on the pro side and con side. But I think on this time, and then on on this time when the pro team, the lock team, they're asking the question, and also about the toward the end, I think the speaker she cited the evidence from an economic organization, right? She did. Can you repeat the organization's name again? And you're very close in your final point. She was citing about based on the one of the economical reasons, and then the organization, I forgot the name. it's fine. But then she actually emphasized about the reason why that amount of money, and then why by providing equal amount of payment, it's actually would eliminate the discrimination. I know they gave the number wrong. They were talking. You guys were last point. You guys were talking about 13,000, right? In the 3,000. So 13,000 was the minimum to live in Taipei, or I'm not sure if it's Taipei or outside of Taipei. But then in your rebuttal, I think you guys forgot to rebut their contention. You know what I'm saying? Like you guys did a good job in terms of supporting your ideas, supporting your claims. But then when they were asking the questions, that was the last piece of point I kind of took off. You know, so yeah, it was a close call. So that's why I gave it to the pro team. You know, my point was to the law team, and on the fact that the evidence they did support the evidence, and they did ask the questions, and they answered your questions with reasoning, because they say they believe like not providing the money, there's gonna be people being labeled as discriminated and all that stuff, and they ask you a question about if they say if you guys have the money for government to investigate, right? You guys should talk more about how those money could be allocated or could be researched to find out the real poor people and non-poor people. But overall, I think because we are not really judging on the English language, you know, how fluent you are, so solely on the raising the question and providing the evidence and then citing the evidence, yeah, I give my point to the pro team.
Maybe the last one from me. I have like three things to say. Like number one is the general feedback for both of you. I think again, because you were in my room before, right? You have to remember like what is the goal of this policy, and what you should be debating is whether or not the proposed policy is better than the current policy or the status quo. So on that point, the affirmative side of the house need to explain, like to give us like different like arguments, like different reasonings why UBI is far better than the current policies. But you could also mention the existing policies in Taiwan, because I think that is one thing that you guys were lacking. You gave lots of evidence, you gave lots of data, but remember again to relate it to Taiwan's context. For example, you could have mentioned, I don't know, like the existing policies in Taiwan. Maybe like there are like food coupons for those who are coming from the underprivileged families. So you can touch one or two existing policies of the welfare system and say that these policies are not working effectively at the moment to help these people out of the poverty. So that is the thing that you want to say. On the other hand, the negative side of the house should say the existing policies are enough or are progressive to help the people out of the poverty cycle. So you mentioned, yes, that we have that the welfare system is currently good, but how, to what extent? What examples? So I think you could have touched more on that point. Okay, that's number one. Number two, I noticed that both of teams again only argue for the people coming from the low-income families. But remember, this policy doesn't affect those from the bottom level. So you could also mention that this policy are also beneficial for people from different classes. From the low-income family, explain how. From the middle-income family, explain how. And even from the affluent group of people. Because remember, it's not only about one particular group, but you want to address all different groups of people, all different social classes, social and economic classes. So you have to bear those in, okay? With regards to your arguments, I think I could give some feedbacks on that as well. From the affirmative side of the house, remember, you're proposing something new, and that has been questioned by them. Where does the money come from? Although you mentioned about the 50 something, maybe like there are budgets that are not allocated very well, like maybe we could have used them for other purposes, and for example for UBI, but that came quite late. But what you could have said is that, you know what, there are now several countries that have been implementing this policy, for example, Finland or USA or other countries. And you mentioned that there have been progressive, and you show the similarities between those countries and Taiwan, and how Taiwan is also feasible, how is this also feasible for Taiwan to adapt or to adopt the current policies from them. But you have to show the similarities. You just cannot say, okay, Finland has this, America has this, but show, like tell us if Taiwan and those countries have similarities and how it is also feasible to apply that in Taiwanese context as well. So that's number one. And number two, even if, you could have argued, even if at the end we would lend money from other countries because the budget is not enough, as what they mentioned, you could have said, this is still a good future investment. And we will have a return back maybe in like 2 or 3 years. Because for example, I think Finland has applied this and they got their BEP back even point in 3 years. And you could also have said the same thing. And it's also very possible for Taiwan to get the same return. And the returns are far more than the harms than what we spend right now. Okay, so you could have argued on that. On the other hand, it also goes the same way for you guys. I think the first speaker mentioned, you know what, there are no similarities between Taiwan and other countries who have implemented, these policies, but you just cannot stop there. You have to explain why they are not the same, how are they different, and how their policies are not applicable or feasible in Taiwanese context. You have to show that. Maybe you could have argued from the government system, from the number of the populations, and different things. You know, there are other aspects that you could include in your arguments. So that's yeah, I think that's the big idea for both of you. And remember, if you want to explain a point, well, there are other terms for this. Some people say UC, like state, explain, and example. Others say RL, like assertions, then reasoning, example or evidence, then link back. But regardless, whichever format that you remember, you just cannot state A, then you go to Z. But you have to show the sequence from A to B to C, B to C until Z. You know, because you cannot say, okay, because if we allow people to pursue what they want, it can make the country become better. How? How is it possible? I think there is still missing link in that. Also the same goes to the negative side of the house. You also mentioned about, you know, if people have no pressure to work because their basic needs have been fulfilled by UBI, they can do whatever they want, and they don't really put extra effort into whatever they are doing. For example, finding another job. But you cannot stop there because there are other things to be taken into account when people are applying for a job. Because if you apply for a job, does it necessarily you will get accepted? How? And how UBI can exacerbate the current condition. So I think those are the things that you have to bear in mind. Remember, explain that the harms are more than the benefits. That's your job. And your job is to explain the benefits are far more or outweigh the the harms. Okay, so those are from me. Technical point. When you do crossfire, I don't suggest you to say, can you repeat your contentions? Because that means you are not listening well. Okay? So that is not supposed to be in the crossfire session. And if you want to clarify, like the data, it's okay for you to go to the other side and see, hey, show me where the evidence, like from their screen or from their paper. That's better and faster. And save your time, so you could have argued on other points. Okay? Okay, that's it. With that reason, I give the winning point to the affirmative side of the house. Okay? Thank you.
Wait on.
Oh, you need your
No, he needs to also say what he voted for.
oh, yeah, you need to say what you vote for.
Oh, already? I said it to the affirmative side, to the pro team. Yeah.
So the result is poll to poll is 2 to 1.
Yeah.
2 to 1. So congratulations.
Hopefully the judges weren't too offended by my face against the glass. That was to indicate if you do have time for feedback, great. If you don't have time for feedback, they can see your comments and you can just kick them out with zero feedback.
Okay.
Okay, we are way behind, so